Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Hamas is attacking, Israel is defending, Russia is invading, the Middle East is smoldering, Boko Haram is massacring, ISIS is marching, Iran and North Korea are threatening, American cities are crumbling, our southern border is dissolving, our debt is skyrocketing, children hide in college so they don't have to get a real job, Americans are hurting, Hillary is running, the EPA wants your land and water, our enemies are laughing, and Obama is fundraising. But hey, please take it easy on Obama. It's his first job. Good morning. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Good morning, everybody. On a Thursday. Thank you very much, Kate Smith, and God bless America. Please, God bless America. Welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell, and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers on the show, like Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland in Burley, and our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Right now, we go over to Gina and say, good morning, how are you? Let's try that again. Let's go over to Gina and say, how are you?
I had to push all the buttons. I'm doing well this morning.
I hope that we're not doing anything to bother you.
No, I was just sitting here waiting, and then I go and push on the mic, and I'm like, oh, well, somebody was messing with it, so.
Well, it's nice that we hired Obama. It's his first job, and he's blown everything so far. Absolutely everything. Hey, by the way, before I forget, I wanted to give you an update, and we'll talk about this a little bit later on, something to mull over. The news makes mistakes, and we reported yesterday about that mom that was being hauled into court, because she left her 11-year-old son alone in the city park.
Right.
Well, he was 7. They changed it this morning and re-reported the story. He was 7, but he's extremely large for his age. He actually looks like he's almost about 13 or 14. And I just wondered if that changed your attitude as a mom anymore, finding out there was a 4-year age discrepancy.
Yeah, well, okay, it depends on how far away the park was from the house.
Just a couple of blocks.
Then it's still okay.
Yeah.
So it would be like me sending Kennedy down to K Street Park.
That's kind of what I was thinking, too.
I can peek out my window, I can peek out my door and see K Street Park.
Yep, I know you can. All right, well, listen, I just wanted to mention that to you because we had an update on that.
Thank you.
Do we have a pledger this morning?
We have Rotten on for the pledge and Mr. Michael Rogers on for the weather.
All right, Rotten, go ahead, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very well, very well.
This great country.
God bless you, and I hope we'll see you at Lunch Bunch at 11:30 at Denny's, right?
plan on being there.
Oh, thank you. God bless you and your wonderful wife. Thank you so much. Hey, it's time for the weather. Cheney Flooring and Home Design brings you the weather at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. 1228 Oakley. Kind of burn that in your mind and look for the blue door. And that's Cheney Flooring and Home Design with Kyle and Whitney Cheney. And they can meet or beat any price on flooring. And they'll come to your house and give you a free in-house consultation. Beautification of your home, yup. You give them a call, 678-6945. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. And now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hey everyone, Michael Rogers is living the ranch. Isolated thunderstorms for today. Slight chance of that happening for today. You do have a lot of moisture in the area. 89 for the high. It's going to start to get hot. And you're going to continue to see these isolated thunderstorm forecasts all the way through Monday morning. So you'll start off with a nice day, and you'll see that little cloud, and it'll get bigger, and wherever it wants to dump, it's going to dump. That's what your weather pattern is going to be all the way through the weekend. So other than that, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you very much, MichaelRogersWeather.com. Brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Wonderful people. Hey, let's sell some cattle. Merv May, come on in here. Well, let's sell some more cattle.
$31, moment, 31, 32, 2 and a half, 3 and a half, 134, 4 and a half, 5 and a half.
That's the chant of the world's best auctioneer, Merv May, at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Sale time 10:30 this morning, and the number to call 678-9411. And Merv May and Lance Udy and the rest of the crew say, come on down. Got a big ripping good sale today at Burley Livestock. Ordell Simper is coming off the mountain today, boys and girls. Yes, sirree. Look out. Jeremiah Johnson's coming to Burley. He's bringing 18 head of 800-pound steers, plus he's bringing the pride of the Simper Ranch, Germania, the Jersey cow. Thank you, Ordell. And then also Chuck Cowitz is bringing in 12 head of 950-pound Holstein steers, and Keith Ward of Cache Valley, 15 head, or I should say 15 pairs that they're going to split at the sale, and that's going to be a ripping good buy. Butcher cows coming in from TLK Dairy, Moo Mountain Dairy, Southridge Dairy, Eastridge Dairy, and Antelope Hills Dairy with Jed Wayman, good friend. 10:30 sale time along with the trailer run. Everybody be there at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Starting time 10:30 this morning. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, it gets the steer calves here to get $31, moment, 31, 32, 2 and a half, 3 and a half, 134, 4 and a half, 5 and a half, 130, 550, 135 and a half, $7.35. Zeb Bell gets bottom again.
Oh my, thank you, Merv. Appreciate it very much. Calls are welcome and appreciated. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zeb. I just reading the paper, and I'd like to know why this Times News will allow some guy from Louisiana or Arkansas, named Gene Lyons, to write this crap in our paper.
I think
the Jews over there in Israel.
Yeah, I've got the article.
Everything's happening.
I got the article right here in front of me, and I found it to be extremely offensive that the op-ed page would carry this garbage against our number one ally and basically blame the happenstances that are going on in the Middle East on Israel. I read that, and it makes you want to clench your fist and just pop somebody, you know what?
You better believe it, because and then Obama did what he did yesterday. Somebody ought to smack him in the mouth.
Wasn't that? I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm going to talk about it here a little later. His display of arrogance, his display of how dare they try to go after me, and his belittling of people, his sniping at people, and his laughing at people in a very serious situation. I thought I didn't like the man before, but I detest him now.
What gets me is how long does the Israeli people have to put up with this crap? It's been going on for what, over 25, 40 years?
No, it's been longer than that.
And they have a ceasefire, Israel agrees to it, and boom, a couple hours later, here comes the rocket. The same crap's been going on, and I'm sick and tired of it. And if we've got a president that believes in the Hamas and all that stuff, I have no use for you, Mr. President. Why don't you retire and go back to Africa?
You know, Al, I'm going to be talking about this as far as not only the word retire, but also the word impeachment and everything else here in just a few minutes. Thank you very much for your call, as always. Appreciate it.
See you at lunch.
You bet, buddy. Thank you. Lunch bunch today at 11:30. Hey, Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. And they've got all the rubber cord. They got all the fuses. They've got everything you need. They've also got a whole bunch of light bulbs. So just be sure and stop over. All the cord ends, the filters for your air conditioning units. They've got everything. They're open 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Hey, by the way, lots of big things happening over at the Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. My goodness, they've got all the halters for your cattle and your horses, and they got the nylon sheep halters, and they've got all the show sticks over there. They've got everything. 4-H kids get 10% off on their feed for their projects, too. So stop over and check it out today at Valleywide Home and Ranch. They've got everything you're needing in a hurry. All the buckets, all the brushes, everything for your 4-H projects while you're showing at the fair. It is fair time, and all your necessities are at Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. You stop over and see them today. Okay? Mighty good folks. I want to talk real quick before we get into Hamas and Israel and also this mess on the southern border and everything else. I want to talk to you about a real lady. Oh, yeah, she is a real lady. Lois Lerner with the IRS. My, oh my, what a real lady. According to her, in emails now that are starting to surface, and we knew that she was lying. We knew that she was playing CYA. She absolutely had the emails, and they're going to start coming out, and we're going to find out how absolutely biased the IRS was against conservatives and Republicans. But she called all Republicans crazies and conservatives crazies, and then she called them beep, beep. I can't even say that on the radio. Not even going to come close. She absolutely has a hostility against people like me and you and other conservatives, and it's blatant. It's absolutely blatant, and she should be sued. She should be jailed for targeting conservatives, and I wonder how far this is going to go. I really do. I wonder how far and how much backbone the Republicans are going to show going after the IRS. Now, here's Obama sitting on a radio and television interview with Bill O'Reilly during the Super Bowl saying not even a smidgen of corruption. That was a blatant lie. And the IRS is showing what kind of absolute thugs they really are through their head lady, and that happens to be Lois Lerner. And it's becoming so blatantly honest and open to the rest of us that she and the IRS, they've been targeting conservatives and Republicans for a long time. And whether they get their feet held to the fire so they get a good burn, I don't know. But what are your thoughts? Are you concerned? I'm not concerned because I absolutely know that as long as I remain honest on all my appraisals on this program, I've got nothing to hide. And I'm not worried about them whatsoever. If they want to come after me and they want to do this, that, and the other, let them. Because they're just going to show their punkery and their thuggery. Punkery, I don't know if that's a word or not, but I sure like the sound of it. But anyhow, they're just nothing but blatant punks. And this has got completely out of hand. And the American people deserve much better than they're receiving from the IRS. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. I'd like to hear from you. Hey, by the way, today at 11:30, we're going to be meeting at Denny's Restaurant for our monthly lunch bunch. Yes, we are, 611 Overland and Burley. And I also want to acknowledge and thank Miss Food King Walmart, and also Hanson Mortuary for the door prize gift certificates we're going to be giving away. And, boy, I'll tell you what, at Denny's Restaurant, while you're there today, why don't you buy a dining gift card for someone that you love that might really enjoy maybe a little time off, and go over to Denny's and enjoy a great meal, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner at Denny's Restaurant. Man, those gift cards, what a way to say, I like you, you're my friend, or I love you, you're my relative, whatever the case might be, that is a great gift. Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland and Burley, and we'll be there at 11:30 today for Lunch Bunch, and I hope you can join us too, okay? Come on, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, and I certainly hope we're coming in all right, because, boy, I'm sure getting a lot of popping and all kinds of noise in my headsets this morning. Don't forget our friends at Berry Equipment and Rental, and they've been in business over 30 years in the Magic Valley, and boy, I'll tell you, they've got all your construction equipment, the man lifts, the skid steers, excavators, tillers, mowers, all the lawn and garden stuff, plus they've got full-time certified mechanics, and what a shop. They can do anything, and they specialize in Honda, Steel, Tanaka, Bobcat, you name it, and of course, Doosan Loaders. All of this and more. And a little bit later on this morning, we're going to have Eli with Berry Equipment and Rental on our program. They have locations on Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln in Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with old Nick and the crew. Berry Equipment and Rental. You be sure and get a hold of them today. Okay? All right, it's your turn. Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Okay, Times News. Here's something else for you to chew on. The Times News in the last couple of days had a great big article really denigrating our Governor Butch Otter for speaking out against the possibility of having some of these border illegal alien children sent to the state of Idaho. Oh, they came after him and they chastised him. They wrote op-eds about it and they chastised him. Well, believe me, he is not alone in saying that they want to protect the citizenry of the respective states. Indiana Governor Mike Pence did and said the same thing that our Governor Butch Otter did, and he also sent a letter to the Obama administration saying no to the illegal alien children, no to increasing the illegality of the situation, no to the enhancing of more money out of the pockets of that state's taxpayer. Basically the same thing that Butch Otter did here. But the feds, now listen to this, the federal government had already kind of snuck up on Mike Pence in Indiana, and prior to the letter being sent to Obama, the federal government, had already sent secretly 245 children to Indiana and dispersed them around the state. Well, the governor of Indiana, Mike Pence, found out through leaks in the press, and he wasn't told, and he is fuming, as he should be. Now, I see, according to some newspaper articles, that we also may have had some sent here. The numbers vary. Some say only 8 have come here to the state of Idaho. How do we know? How do we know, especially if the federal government's telling us it could be a blatant lie and there could be 4 times, 10 times, whatever that number. But the situation is now getting completely out of hand, folks. And here is what happened yesterday at the White House briefing when they stood up and asked questions about whether or not these kids are being shipped around the country. The spokesperson, Josh Earnest, for the Obama administration said the government, have a right to do this and not tell anyone because of the children's privacy rights. Wait a minute. Since when does our United States government, here's the question I want you to answer for me this morning. Since when does our United States government have the right and the legality to move illegal aliens, people that are not citizens, people that are illegally here, around the country? They're aiding and abetting criminal activity, are they not? And for them to say that they have the right to do this and not tell anyone, and also because of the children's privacy. Wait a minute. If they're here illegally and they're not citizens of this country, what rights are afforded to them? Please, somebody out there in the audience, help me on this. This whole thing is a sham. This whole thing is nothing more than government lying to the people. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please, this is way out of hand. This is completely out of hand. Don't forget, sugar beet growers. Come on, calls. Get on the phone right now and give me a call. Sugar beet growers introducing Preaxor from BASF, the newest form of chemistry for sugar beets to fight disease and potentially increase yield and sugar content for your sugar beets. Preaxor contains headline and a new compound called xenium that also provides excellent control of powdery mildew. Now, like I said, with the application of BASF's Preaxor, 45 to 60 days prior to harvest, you have the potential of higher yields and more sugar content in your sugar beets. Contact your local ag chem supplier today, and for more information, call my dear friend Ron Ellis at BASF, 431-6776, or Tim Perry at 844-0682. BASF's Preaxor for your better sugar beets. You know, I'm amazed, really, that most of you out in the audience aren't outraged over this. We are being taken advantage of, lied to by our government, and this situation, I haven't had anyone call on this program yet, to date, not one, that was in favor of letting all these children in to various states and communities around the United States. Not one. And here's a call. We'll take that, and then I'll take a break at the bottom of the hour. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, I wonder if these children are being shipped around and we're not being told, who are they being placed with? Are they being placed with foster parents who have no clue that these children have not had their immunizations or that they may be carrying diseases? Are they being placed with people who are complicit with the whole thing and are knowingly taking them in? Where are they going?
All right, now you
can't put them in a box on a shelf.
No, but you bring up a question that absolutely deserves an answer that probably will make you madder than you want to be this morning. There was an advertisement in a paper in California, down in the Los Angeles area, and it was basically offering families to take in these illegal alien children from South America. And listen to this. The ad said that they would be paid $7,000 a month per child, and the money would be tax-free. All of the expenses would be covered. Now, let me ask you a question, dear lady. Doesn't that just reek of absolute government involvement in this whole mess?
Do you know what foster parents get paid in Idaho to take in a child? Approximately $150 a month, and that doesn't even cover the charge or what it costs to put up a child. So that they would offer $7,000 a month for these children. And then what about my kids that go to school? Are these kids going to be going to school with my kids? What about my privacy? What about my rights? I love children, and anybody who knows me, I'm about as racist as a snowflake. I really don't give a rat's hairy hind end what color you are or where you were born. But come on, there's just some plain old common sense things going on here.
Let me ask you something, my dear, and I'm running late, but I appreciate your comments. How did you respond, and how would you respond to the Times News, absolutely with their op-ed the other day, saying that conservative Christians are cruel and evil because they want to stop the kids at the border? How do you respond to that?
I want to know what the person who did that, how many children they have in their home. You know what? If they don't have children in their home, if they aren't taking them in without being paid $7,000 a month, if they aren't putting their money where their mouth is, then they just better shut up, because unless they themselves are being productive in this situation, then they have nothing to talk about.
I agree. I just don't understand why we have a constitution, why we have laws, and why we have borders as a sovereign nation. What good are they, my dear?
None. None whatsoever.
God bless you for your call. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay,
nice lady right there, and I appreciate her comments. We'll be right back after the Capital Press Ag Minute, and you call, please.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly.
A federal appeals court has upheld the USDA's country of origin labeling rule for meat products, saying consumers' interest in where food comes from outweighs free speech claims by the rule's opponents. The court says consumers have substantial interest in country of origin disclosure. Such information allows them to choose American-made products, the court said, and is associated with health concerns and market impacts that can arise in the event of a foodborne illness outbreak. In 2013, the USDA revised its cool rule to require listing not just the country of origin, but the production steps occurring in each country. The rule will face a fair trade challenge from Canada and Mexico. This is Hannah Brose.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and CapitalPress.com.
Oh, thank you very much, Capital Press. We appreciate it. Hey, by the way, Snyder Surplus isn't just army and hunting supplies. There's no. They've got everything in that brand new store. I mean, everything. You name it, it's there. They'll find it. It's on the property someplace. I guarantee you. They have everything you could be looking for, and they're located at 112 South, 200 West of Rupert. Snyder Surplus. These are wonderful, wonderful people with new merchandise, new store, friendly service, same as always, and they're waiting to serve you. Please stop in and enjoy the great folks at Snyder Surplus, and you're going to find what you're looking for right there at Snyder Surplus. I guarantee it. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zeb. I'm sure you heard, too, that not only are they getting it across the border, but our taxes paid for the transportation to get them to the border. They put out contracts for to deliver 75,000 children to the border. I don't know if you heard that or not, but that really was the frosting on the cake as far as understanding what this is all about.
Yeah, but wait a minute, Adrian, wait a minute. Yeah, but wait a minute. I want to ask you a question right there. You know the Constitution as well as anybody I know. And why isn't there litigation? Why isn't there a lawsuit? Why isn't there horrendous happenings in the courts right now this morning for the United States government aiding and abetting a crime of secretly moving and transporting illegal aliens within the states of the United States?
Oh, yeah, and then, of course, the governors don't know, but just the fact that we somehow paid for transportation from those, Guatemala and so forth to get them to the border.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
The American taxpayer, honestly, I still maintain that the naivete of the American taxpayer is that the media, and I want to see what you say to this, NBC, CBS, and ABC, not the cable channels because they've been covering this, but the generalized network news is not saying the truth, is not putting these stories out, and I think the American public, if they knew what was going on with the regular media and the networks, they should be and would be outraged.
Well, the word's getting out, but it's just too slow, and then there's so many people that are apathetic. But just look at how Israel's getting hammered, on the situation where they're trying to defend themselves, and then they put these human shields and kids right into their arsenals, and so when the Israelis drop a bomb after they warn them that they're going to do so.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you fight a war when you send out leaflets and say, hey, we're going to bomb this area, you better get out of here, and then the Hamas says, don't do that. I mean, the national media, again this morning, is hammering on Israel, not saying anything about number of rockets that they sent out yesterday again.
I know it, but you know, when you go back to this government and this administration saying that, quote-unquote, they have a right to do this as far as shipping these kids around the country, and that also these kids have a privacy right. Adrian, if you're here illegally, what privacy rights do you have?
Under the Constitution, you have none. You're an illegal alien. They're not undocumented immigrants. They're illegal aliens. And like I say, the $7,400 figure is just unbelievable and outrageous.
Absolutely.
I was talking to a friend last night. I said, my gosh, I guess we should all take a kid, and at $7,400 a month, this is not a year, this is a month.
That's right.
I mean, good grief. Well, you know whose money that is, but good criminy, folks, this is... Wake up and smell the roses. It's just unbelievable.
This has got to come to a head, Adrian. This is
using our tax money to bring in all of these diseases and these kids that are, you know, they need to be deported immediately and get them out of here.
Absolutely. Thank you for your call as always, Adrian. Appreciate it. Thank you. We've got to pay some bills here. More calls are welcome. You know, one thing the Times News did the other day in their op-ed piece was really tee me off because, number one, I'm proud of my faith. I'm proud to call myself a Christian. And I will not let some loony left elbow in the side of the head thinker tell me that I'm less a Christian because I'm protective of our borders, protective of our Constitution, and protective of our laws. How dare they at the Times News? And I think I know who wrote that article. But how dare they mock Christianity and our faith by basically telling us that we're not Christians at all, we're phonies, if we don't accept with open arms this problem? How dare they? And I'm surprised. I'm speaking out against the Times News many, many times on this program every week. But I'm surprised we're not seeing the railing back against the Times News in their letters to the editor and people calling in here on this program. That paper has turned into a liberal left loony bin. Now somebody's going to say, well, why do you subscribe to it? Because I want to know where these people are coming from. You never want to let your adversaries sneak up on you, and that's why I read and watch for all this craziness that they put in this paper. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street on the Square in Rupert. Oh, my. Have you had some of their cinnamon rolls? They're about the size of Rawlings football. I mean, man, they are great. They're big. And they make wedding cakes, cookie bars, homemade bread, and the delicious cinnamon rolls. Oh, and you better stop in for breakfast, lunch, or supper. Open Monday through Friday, 6 to 6, Saturdays and Sundays, 6 to 2. You're going to love Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street on the Square in Rupert. Really, really nice people. You better believe it. Caller, I'm going to be right with you, I promise. Don't go away. I just quickly have to tell some folks that some of the merchants over in the Burley area are saying to people, come on over to the Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. Yep, coming up in a couple of weeks. Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley. Farmers' old implements, they can take them out of your yard. Pacific Steel and Recycling will come out and get them for you and take your old and used appliances, computers, everything. You get a hold of them today. Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley. And our friends at Pickett Equipment Company. Hello, Steve. Hello, everybody. 976 East Main Street in Burley. What a great company that has gone worldwide, doing a wonderful job. From the Twin Master Edible Bean Combine and all the other equipment, Pickett Equipment Company in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I think it would be interesting to know exactly who it is that owns the Times News. And if it were stockholders in the Magic Valley, do you think they would be allowing them to say some of the stupid things they do?
You know, Chris, let's play devil's advocate on what you just said for a minute. They go underneath the, not this Lee family that owns this radio station, but another Lee family involved in the newspaper business. But everybody has the right to have the slant politically for their business that they desire. However, let's you and I stop right there and say that this is a very conservative area. Let's you and I stop right there and say, why in the world are they destroying the people and the businesses in this area that have supported that Times News newspaper for so many years? Why? I don't understand this.
I don't know either, and my husband and I subscribed to Times News for years and years and years, and I've just quit it because mostly it's not worth the paper it's printed on, and I always get the good news from you anyway. And I'm telling you, it is just so disgusting. And then, why in the world has the Republican Party become such a sheep? Or maybe even a goat. I don't know. I am a proud conservative, and I think that if we were all living by, conservative lifestyle, we'd all be a lot better off. But when I see what the Republican Party is, they're buckling. And I don't think we have a two-party system hardly.
What are they doing? I mean, you bring up the excellent point, and I've said this for a long time in the air. I'm ashamed. I am ashamed of the Republican Party. I'm ashamed of the no backbone. I'm ashamed that they're worried more about election. They're ashamed more about not rippling the waters. I want somebody that's got the spit and vinegar to stand up and say this is wrong. I want somebody to say Obama should be not only impeached, but thrown out of Washington, D.C., tied to a rail. I want somebody that's got some backbone to fight for you and me, and it's not happening.
Right, and Obama just thumbs his nose at them every time they even start to act like they're going to do something. And I mean, where is the backbone? And even the state of Idaho, the crapola that's going on here right now, I just can't believe it. And they called me for a donation last night, and I said, you're not getting one more dime out of me until the Republicans nationally and statewide start looking like Republicans, not like, I don't know, nannies.
I totally agree with you, but, when you listen to John Boehner, and Boehner, here's the fraud and the phony that's in the mix right now. I don't want somebody at 5 o'clock in the afternoon to go out and have a beer or a burger or sit and loosen their tie with the other side. I don't want somebody to be cozying up to the president or cozying up to Harry Reid or cozying up to any other Democrats. Hey, listen, the purpose that they're there is to represent their constituents and not have these goody two-shoes attitudes after work when the cameras are turned off and nobody's going to film it. I'm sick of this kind of attitude. I want somebody to be a junkyard dog back there.
I think that gives us all the more reason that it's time to start voting people out. We've got to get new blood back there and even locally who really care about their community and their state. And particularly with all the money that's being drained out of our country, and why in the world are these kids, they're being beat up out of the bushes? And we have a prisoner who was a soldier for our country in jail in Mexico right now. And it's as if he doesn't even exist.
Amen. Amen. And that's another sore spot with me. I agree. Chris, yeah. I got to do the weather forecast. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you. What a nice lady right there. I appreciate her. Weather forecast brought to you. Caller, I'll be right there. I promise. Have patience. Remember, on this program, we have to develop patience. I'm trying. You should too. Burley Glass, 1029 Overland Avenue in Burley. Working hard to provide a great service to all the communities in Magic Valley. And believe me, you better increase the energy efficiency of your home by 2 to 3 times by installing installing vinyl windows. We did in my office, greatest thing we ever did. I remember the old days, I was freezing in here and then sometimes sweating to death in the summer. Oh, man, have they helped. Gentle Ben, Leslie, and the crew at Burley Glass, they can help. 678-1459. Here now is Michael Rogers with the weather.
Hey everyone, Michael Rogers is in the ranch. Isolated thunderstorms for today. Slight chance of that happening for today. You do have a lot of moisture in the area. 89 for the high. It's going to start to get hot. And you're going to continue to see these isolated thunderstorm forecasts all the way through Monday morning. So you'll start off with a nice day, and you'll see that little cloud, and it'll get bigger, and wherever it wants to dump, it's going to dump. That's what your weather pattern is going to be all the way through the weekend. So other than that, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Brought to you, everybody, by Burley Glass, 1029 Overland Avenue in Burley. The best of windows for your home. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. They're backing up. They're backing up. Look out. Calls are welcome. Hey, Deanne, come on in here for a second, please. I need you in this office. We had just something special. Just please, we want to acknowledge these nice people. Get on that microphone over there real quick. Please, just tell me what went on over at the door a minute ago. Get real close to that microphone. What happened?
A person drove in. His name is Ross Newcomb. He farms over here for Grand Farms, and he gave us a couple of caramel apples. His wife owns a chocolate candy shop over in Rupert, and they listen all the time, and she sent some over.
Now, these are, hold on, caller, I'll be right with you, I promise, but these are wonderful looking candied apples, and oh my goodness, look at this one, and it's beautiful the way they've got them decorated. Both of those apples, I can't wait to sink my grinners into them. They are going to be fantastic.
Phenomenal job. Just sink your chompers into it. Gina does a phenomenal job on those apples.
I can barely hear you, Gina. Gina, I can't hear you. I'm sorry. I know you said something about phenomenal job, but if you know the lady, call me during the break and we'll talk about it, because these apples look fantastic. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Hello. Oh, I'd like to go back to these border breaches. We've got millions of these people pouring into this country, going on food stamps, welfare, and all the good benefits. We've got veterans that cannot even get their wheelchairs fixed.
That's right.
And these guys, these border breaches, within 6 months of being here, they're driving brand new vehicles. We've got veterans stuck in wheelchairs that need repair.
You know,
that's stuck in my craw.
Well, our veterans, I mean, let's just talk about it, whatever branch of the service they're in. I mean, my goodness, they have signed up to protect us, our country, our Constitution, and our laws. And they're putting their lives on the line. I mean, it's a lot different than signing up to say you're going to go sell shoes door to door. I mean, they're signing up and putting their lives on the line. And when they come home, we're treating them basically like second-class citizens. Look, these kids that are coming across the border as illegal aliens, in essence, by offering people to take care of them at $7,000 a month, we're giving them 10 times more benefits than we are our veterans.
Well, my feelings are, and I always do this way, you listen to Kirsten Powers, and she has so much sympathy for these kids. However, these kids that are coming into this country are being used as weapons to bring us down. And that's the only way I can look at it. I have sympathy for young kids, too, but not the way they're coming into this country.
I totally agree. Tony, always good to hear from you, my friend. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Zed.
Thanks, Tony. Hey, the Jerome County Fair is going to be August 5 through 9. And, boy, they usually get about 30,000 fairgoers annually to enjoy all the activities and festivities that are going on over there. I don't care if it's dairy shows, swine shows, horse shows. They're going to have a ripping good time. Dog shows. They've got it all going on at the Jerome County Fair, including the Go Hog Wild pig wrestling, and including a huge parade that's going to be held August 5th at 5 p.m. on Main Street in Jerome, and then including a PRCA professional rodeo right there at the fairgrounds. Man, I'm telling you, you can have a ball this year at the Jerome County Fair, August 5th through the 9th. Don't you miss it. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. How in the world can we say, caller, I'm coming, just stay right there. How can we say in these newspaper advertisements, and you know as well as I do, that if they're going to make an offer of cash like that for people to take these youngsters in, you know it's all going back to federal taxpayer money. But they're offering, in essence, all the money to take care of these illegal alien children, and our vets can't get a wheelchair fix, like Tony said? Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Yeah, Webb, I can change the subject, or do you mind?
I beg your pardon, I'm having a hard time with the feed line coming into my studio, Tony. Or not Tony, Randy, repeat that, please.
Yeah, this has to do with farmers and farming, and yesterday I went into a convenience store, and I ran into a friend of mine who's a farmer, and I asked him how he was doing, and he goes, well, I'm thrashing grain, and I said, well, how's it doing? And he goes, well, it's doing good. I used to farm years ago, and, when you had 120 bushel winter wheat, the way I remember it, 135, 40, you were really very proud of the winter wheat was 140 bushels the acre. And spring grain 100, 110, seemed like that was pretty good. In fact, you're very happy with it. Yesterday he told me that he thrashed some winter wheat in one field that went 220 bushels to the acre.
Oh, my.
Now, this is the kind of innovation, and this is what freedom gets you. This is what freedom gets you. The American farmer feeding the world, and then you got Obama and the EPA and the USDA trying to clamp down on these farmers out here who are literally feeding the world. And this is the kind of things that occur when freedom rings.
I could not agree more, and I will say this, and I'll probably be chastised for it somehow, but you know, Randy, what I'm saying is true. If it comes down to the EPA cutting back on our being able to farm and the freedom of farming and the freedom to feed the people of the world and everything else, it's time for a revolution and revolt against a country and a government that would support absolute public demise of freedom and the chance to keep this nation a sovereign nation. I absolutely think we're almost to that point with this government.
Oh, yeah, there's no question about it. And so, again, it's the same old story. You turn them loose and they will find a way. And but you start, hamstringing them, and then they start losing the desire.
That's right.
And they become weak. And then they're docile, and they're sitting around punching buttons on their phone or their computer or their iPad or their TV or watching TV. Ambition is what is going to change this country back to what it was.
There you go, my friend. Thank you for your call as always. Appreciate your thoughts. Thank you. Ambition, drive, desire to succeed, want for a better life for you, your family, and your children, the American ideals. And why in the world do they want to take that away? I just don't understand it. I know somebody that's out there making sure that they provide the best in service, and somebody out there that makes sure they provide the best in safe driving, for the best in tires, brake service, front end alignments, shocks and struts, batteries. Oh, you know who it is. You've already said the name. That's right, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 of those locations absolutely care about your safe driving, and they've got the best tire value promise in the industry. Free peace of mind tire protection and free lifetime tire and mileage care. They do care. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline and Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All right, I still have time for another call. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let me ask you something, folks. Seriously. regarding the advertisement that was in some of the papers around the country saying, hey, if you take in some of these illegal alien children, you can qualify to get $7,000, $7,400 actually a month, in tax-free money from the government, which is your money and my money. But who is helping you raise your kids? Who's going to the shoe store and handing you a check to buy the shoes? Who's handing you a check to take and buy the gas to get them possibly to Little League practice or take them to get their vaccinations for school? Who's helping you with your children? But we can come up with a carte blanche check of $7,400 per month for these families that will take in the illegal alien children from foreign countries? Tax-free money? Are you kidding me? Surely you must be outraged by this. And the Times News editorial staff, they need, and here's what I'm suggesting to that editorial staff, and I hope they're listening this morning. They probably are. The Times News editorial staff needs to study our Constitution. The greatest Constitution ever written in the history of any country ever in the world. And they need to read and study our laws. And then they need to lay down with their crackers and milk on their blankies, and they need to mull over what they read as to why this country, the United States of America, is the greatest country in the world with the greatest people. And we're seeing it destroyed with lawlessness with this administration. We're seeing it destroyed because there's no borders. We're seeing it destroyed because our Constitution is being used as a doormat. Maybe the Times News editorial staff can wake up and smell the coffee and start acting like a pro-American newspaper. But I have my doubts. Coming up next hour, we're going to have our chamber report, and then also we're going to talk about gardening. How does your garden grow? Well, all you have to do is just listen to Miss Vicki at Vicky's Country Garden. And then also Dog Nation, followed at 9:30 with Rita Ramsey, and I'll bet she's got some opinions on what's going on in the world today. I'll guarantee you that. Later on this morning, of course, we've got Cassia County School Days. Debbie Critchfield is going to be our guest on that later on this morning. And all kinds of goodies are left. And real quick, I want to remind everybody that last night they had the Jerome County team roping at the fairgrounds in Jerome, and Kendall Mason walked out of there, and he just missed placing in every single hole. He won it with another partner, Cole Likely, and then he ended up also third and fourth with two other partners. And I was talking to Dave Zanino, and he said Kendall almost won seconds. He almost clean swept everything. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the next roping they're going to have is next Thursday night, but it's going to be up at Cary starting at 6:30 with the registration. I'll be back in about 6 minutes. Don't you go away. Questions or want to stop in and just visit about what's going on at the chamber, you have a beautiful office space and you've got a great gift shop. I mean, man, you've got nice people. It's all right there at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce.
That is correct. Come by and see us. Or come by this weekend and see us at the Minidoka County Fair. Our stage will be staffed after 4 o'clock every evening. And play Minicasia Trivia, because we've got our Minicasia Trivia game set up. So come by and see us either at the Minidoka County Fair all week, or come by our office. We're located at 1177 7th Street in Hayburn, or give us a call at 208-679-4793. Find us online at minicasiachamber.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You did a wonderful job, as always. Thank you, Kay Cameron, Director of the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you next week, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. In just a minute, we're going to have the lovely Miss Vicki on the program from Vicky's Country Garden, but I want to remind you again about the Jerome County Fair coming up August 5 through 9. They know how to have fun over there. Yes, they do. Celebrated family tradition, the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo, and they've got a full week of family fair activities, all the equipment displays and rodeos, and you name it. They've got that Go Hog Hog Wild Pig Wrestling Contest, and that's going to be at 7 p.m. on August the 8th next week. Holy smokes, what are you waiting for? You got to get over there and enjoy the great big Jerome County Fair and Pro Rodeo. Big parade, huge parade, is going to be on August 5th at 5 p.m. right down Main Street. And for more information, always call the fair office, 324-7209. The Jerome County Fair and Pro Rodeo, August 5 through the 9th at the Jerome County Fairgrounds. Let's go right now over to the lovely Miss Vicki at Vicky's Country Gardens, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Gardening for Idiots. Good morning, the lovely Miss Vicki. How are you?
Just fine, Zeb. How are you doing? It's a beautiful, nice, cool morning. Everybody should be out hoeing their garden right now.
You know, and really, you're saying something that's really true, to get out there in the morning, put a little bug spray on, because, man, I've noticed the bugs are really thick lately. But now in the morning, it's beautiful. But there is also a little hint and tinge of fall, is there not?
Well, I'm afraid fair time is here, so that's usually always meaning the early proceeding of fall. And from the sounds of it, everybody's starting to get stuff out of their gardens right now, so that is a good sign.
Did we lose her?
Get the water off of them.
Okay.
Clear them a little bit, and now they'll start to ripen up.
All right. Now, Vicki, I mentioned the bugs, and last week you talked a little bit about this, and I had quite a few people call between last week and today, and they said, holy smokes, the bugs seem to be worse this year than ever. Is that really true?
I don't know that they're worse, but we do have a lot of them. We're seeing a lot of bugs right now. I think it's because we had such a cool spring, they was all able to get going real good and strong, and now that the heat has hit, we are seeing quite a few. I don't know that we've seen anything more than usual. It's just bug season, I guess. It's just one of those things we're just going to have to deal with, and I think it's going to get worse as we go because our chemicals aren't lasting as long, they're not as strong, and so we're just going to have to spray a little bit more often.
Now, you said this on a couple of programs, but I think it's worth repeating. Why? Why are we being subjected to lesser quality type bug sprays and that type of thing? Why? I mean, why would we allow the government and or regulators to say we need less quality instead of more quality?
Well, there's so much propaganda, not necessarily propaganda, but there is so much information out there right now for everybody to read about how some of these pesticides and that are so damaging to people, and the government, I guess, is trying to be the big protector and save everybody from having, deformed children. That's what they're thinking.
Brother.
I don't know what the problems are. I think they need to look at reality a little bit, and we've got to be able, we're going to have something that's going to be able to take care of some insects, or they're going to eat us alive. I mean, we're not going to be able to have, the farmers, nobody's going to be able to have any decent crops.
But I
think more or less there's so much information out there, and people are so afraid. Everyone is in this health mode right now, I mean, which is good. I'm not saying it's not. But everybody is into this major health mode. They want everything natural. They want everything organic. They want everything to be so healthy. And they think pesticides and that are non-healthy. But in the long term, they really aren't. The pesticides and that, the fungicides and that type of thing, all they're doing is trying to get it to where we have enough produce, enough crops to support the entire populations that we're trying to support. And without the pesticides and that type of thing, we're not going to be able to. We're going to have a lot of hungry people.
And the thing is, Vicki, and correct me, you're the pro about this, but people that think that they're going to get rid of all the carcinogens and everything by going strictly healthy and strictly organic and everything, that's a farce. There's carcinogens in everything, is there not?
There is, basically, yes. And I mean, there are some pros and cons to that. Everybody, I mean, but there's been no proof in my books, as far as I'm concerned, there's been no proof of any of this really doing any major damage to people, down the road. I mean, you would have to come in contact with so much of these products at one time in order for them to go in and affect. It's like like medicine or anything else. It has to be done by body weight. And if you use your common sense and you use your head about using sprays and things like that, nobody's going to get hurt. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, you always have a few idiots out there that have a tendency to overdo something, like I say, spray their kids in the face with a chemical, and then all of a sudden we have to, pay the price for it, because there's some idiot out there that doesn't know what the heck they're doing with their chemicals, So, I mean, if you read your labels, you use your common sense, you use your head, and you take precautions, we're going to be fine. But if they don't quit just taking everything off the market, we're going to have an awful lot of fly swatters is the only thing I can figure.
Vicki, what you just said, though, is that the government, in all regards, whether it's the pesticides, whether it's the chemicals, or whether it's what we eat, how much we eat, etc., they are taking away our personal responsibility, and that is something that we need to stand up and fight for.
Well, they're treating us like we're a bunch of imbeciles that we can't do for ourselves, that we're not smart enough to be able to know how to mix a chemical or to grow a crop or whatever, that we're so stupid that they have to be so smart and tell us what we're doing. And I'm sorry, but I think the American people have got more brain power than that. I mean, the majority, I think we should go on the majority of people instead of the minority of people that are idiots.
Absolutely. Now, it's harvest time for a lot of the things and items that people have grown in their garden, and I'm almost out of time, but tell us a little bit about different ways we can safeguard these crops and how maybe we can make it last a little longer. Give us some ideas right there real quick.
Well, there again, the stuff is starting to come on really good. Cucumbers and that are all starting to set on really heavy right now. Seems to be we're having a good pollination year, but on cucumbers, just rustle the vines really good when you're picking and get that pollen moving. Same thing on your tomatoes. If you need to use blossom set on your tomatoes, get the blossoms to stay on. That helps with pollination and getting the tomatoes and stuff on. Watering is really crucial right now. Your watermelons, your squashes, and that kind of thing are starting to set on. They're going to need extra water, as far as getting those crops to produce and, getting those squash to fill out and do what you want them to do. And basically it's a monitoring job right now. I mean, you're going to have to watch things and pick them when they're ready and just enjoy your garden at this point.
Absolutely. Vicki, real quick, you've got everything over there for gardening, healthy gardening, and you've also got all the landscaping material too, right?
Oh, yeah, we've got everything they need to keep that garden healthy and to keep that yard looking nice, no matter what they need. So whatever they need, they can come in and talk to us, and we will have it all.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You and I ought to form a coalition of two people that are going to stand up against government and bureaucratic idiocy, and we'll beat them. We'll fight them.
That would be a good plan, Jeb. I think we at least we'd be able to state our opinion. I mean, I don't know anyone cares, but we'd be able to state our opinion.
Atta girl. I always look forward to having you on the air because you shoot straight from the hip, and I like that. Vicki at Vicki's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. God bless you, and we'll talk to you next Thursday. Have a great week.
All right, and everybody come see us at the fair over at Minidoka. We got one going.
All right. Thank you, Vicki. We do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome. Thank you. The lovely Miss Vicki of Vicki's Country Gardens. Hey, don't forget Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. They're now offering a complete wellness program where they'll provide a free annual hearing screening. You want to hear what you're missing. What did you say? I said you want to hear what you're missing. And they'll discuss any concerns you may have about your hearing and review your medications for ototoxicity and demonstrate ways to protect your hearing. You better call over there today. 312-0957. 312-0957. Right across from the Minidoka Hospital emergency room. You can't miss it. Mount Harrison Audiology, and they're waiting for you with the lovely Christine Pickup as the audiologist, and she wants to help you with your hearing. What? I said she wants to help you with your hearing at Mount Harrison Audiology. Okay? Call her today. Also, real fast, I want to remind you, too, about a couple of my real good friends. I appreciate what they do to help us. And that's Dean Cameron and Todd Siemens of Cameron and Siemens Insurance, life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. Yes, sirree, Bob, they serve you on Highway 24 right there in Rupert. All you got to do to sit down and visit with them is give them a call, make an appointment at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Yep, they're there. They're waiting for you. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Wonderful people. You get a hold of them today, please. Real good folks. Let's see, what else have I got here? Oh, I want to talk to you real quick about Let's Ride, if I can. I just dropped my pen on the floor, and there I got to get that picked up. And don't forget our friends at Let's Ride. I love this business. Let me tell you something. I love this business. Nick and his lovely wife, they introduced us to four-wheeling, about what's it been now, 5 years ago? And it is so much fun, and I've thoroughly enjoyed our ATVs, absolutely, and you will too. Now, you got to stop over there to Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley, and just absolutely walk in the showroom and just, whoa, wait a minute, look at all, they've got all the models. They got the new 2015 models coming in even right now, and they've got rebates on some of the 2014 models. Holy buckets, they've got all the generators on sale, and I'm telling you, it's just crammed in there. I don't know who designs the floor plan, but it's really a good job to get everything in there. You better stop over there, and they've got all the accessories, and they've got a fantastic service department. I'll tell you, Brad and the crew, they know how to fix things. Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. They're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6, and they're waiting to serve you where the fun is sold. Holy smokes, where'd all these dogs come from anyway? Let the dogs out! We got dogs running all over the place here this morning. What's going on? Somebody call Minidoka Animal Control. Where in the world is Ken when you need him? Good morning, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing great. How are you today?
I am fantastic. Now, I'm so glad you're on the program. Gina did a wonderful job filling in for you last time, but it's never the same as good old Ken Mord. Old Ken Mord talking to us about going to the dogs. What's happening, Ken?
Well, today we want to feature Chevy. He is a 2-year-old pit bull cross, tan with white on his face and chest. He weighs about 54.6 pounds. Great dog with all people, loves kids and other dogs. Does not like cats.
Oh.
He's very friendly, Annette, but he is an escape artist. Annette, he can scale a fence and nothing flat, especially when Annette, if you put him in a kennel that doesn't have a top on it, he'll be out of it in a matter of seconds. And he was running at large over in the city of Hayburn. Their animal control officer picked him up, brought him over to us, and we've been holding on to him, and he's now available for adoption. Annette, so, he'd make somebody a great pet as long as they've got a way of keeping him contained.
What's his name, by the way, Ken?
Chevy.
No, his name is Houdini.
Well, that's what it should be. But, he's one of those and stuff, and that would be great to take out for walks all the time, and because he's great on a leash, very well mannered on a leash, and that. So he'd make somebody a great pet as long as they had the right facility and stuff, and that to keep him contained.
You know, speaking of that, the other day when we were in the Nampa area, I saw this lady, and she had one of those retractable leashes on her dog, and the dog took off a-running, and she just kept feeding him line, and I don't think she realized that when that line ran out, she was going to look like a bungee cord, and that dog hit the end of that line, and I tell you, that lady, her Nikes never hit the ground.
Well, I can believe it. And when they start running out on me and stuff, and if I'm using one of them, especially with my dogs, and I start slowly slapping the brakes to the lines and that, so that I don't get jerked.
It's kind of like reeling in a fish. You better be prepared for the jolt, and you better get ready to reel them back in before you end up off your feet.
Exactly.
Okay. What else is going on with Minidoka Animal Control this morning, Ken?
Well, one of the things and stuff that I want to reiterate to people and stuff and that is to check your city ordinances. And that a lot of people out there don't realize and that a lot of cities have ordinances and stuff in that in reference to dogs and everything that people aren't really aware of, especially like barking dogs and stuff in that. There's a lot of cities out there that have barking dog ordinances, and that basically states that no person shall harbor, own, or possess a dog and that disturbs the neighborhood via continuous barking, yelping, or howling on that. I mean, and there's no time frame on that, which a lot of people think there is a time frame, so they need to check their city ordinances and stuff, especially when they're going to be getting themselves a dog, so that they know what on that the requirements are when they're taking care of these furry friends.
A real quick question, Ken. What happens if it's a house dog and it barks in the house but the windows are open, and does the same law apply?
It does. It doesn't matter and stuff in that if it's in the house. If it is disturbing the neighbors on that, it is a violation on that, especially like over in Rupert, Hayburn, the Paul, basically all the towns and stuff in that within Minidoka County. I haven't checked on any of the other cities, but I know all you got to do if you have any questions in reference to the ordinances and stuff in that, county ordinances, state ordinances, or anything like that, they're all online. All you got to do is get online, Google on that area you live in on that, looking up the ordinances, and they'll pull them right up, and you can search exactly what you need to find out.
Okay. All right. Anything else real quick before I let you go?
No, if anybody's interested in that in Chevy, they can contact us at 438-2200 or 670-7268.
All right. Officer Ken Mort, Minidoka Animal Control. Who let all these dogs out anyway? Officer Mort, one of the nicest guys you ever want to meet, and really a treat to have him on the program. Thank you. And he loves dogs. You can tell that. Good guy right there. Hey, don't forget some of the Cassia County merchants that are asking you to celebrate this year, the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo in August. Don't forget about it. I'm telling you what, they've got all kinds of things planned. AMI 1719 Overland and Burley. Look for the big 28-foot wrench over the door and go nuts over their bolts. They're the meat and potatoes of the industry, and they say, come on by AMI. Don't forget to Butte Irrigation, 116 South, 600 West, Highway 27 in Paul, and the new location on Kimberly Road, north of Red Cap Corner. You can't miss it right there in Kimberly. Butte Irrigation, major hub for agriculture, irrigation parts, and equipment. They will get you wet. Along with Burley Veterinary Hospital, Dr. Wally Ward and Scott Morley, both of these doctors working on small and large animals, and they're there when you need a veterinarian, quality patient care, and client satisfaction. Burley Veterinarian Hospital, 2869 Overland in Burley. Nice people. Well, when you say nice people, look who just showed up behind the microphone and ready to talk to us this morning. It's the lovely Rita Ramsey. Hello, Rita. How are you?
She's just calling in.
She's just calling in. Well, okay, let's try that again. Good morning, Rita. How are you?
Hello, I'm good.
That a girl. Rita, I got to start things off this morning. I'm frustrated, and knowing you and your politics and your beliefs, you're probably as frustrated as I am. The Times News this past week, they pulled, I think, kind of a sucker punch on all of us that are Christians and believe in the law and believe in the Constitution when they denigrated us in an op-ed piece they ran in the paper, basically saying we must not be very good Christians if we're not ready to open our arms and take in all the illegal alien children. Did you read that, and how did you respond?
Well, I did not read that particular one, but I've heard the clatter about on it, and I feel like that if they would look at the perspective of it, we are really good Christians because we want those kids to go back to their families and stay safe. They aren't going to be safe here. They're not going to be taken care of. They're going to be made into slaves. And that's what really is bothersome, is like we're bringing all of these kids over and, oh yeah, we're going to give them a better life. That's a bunch of baloney. We're not going to give them a better life if they're slaves. And so they need to stay with their families, but we can't just keep bringing in numbers and numbers and numbers of people and their kids and their families from the whole world and have them end up on our welfare rolls
because there isn't work for them. There aren't things for them to do. And if they want to come legally and come through the system, that's what they need to do.
There were earlier stories in the Times News, and yes, I am picking on the Times News this morning, and I'm going to remain that way. There were earlier stories in the week in the Times News about our governor, and they were saying, Otter, here's the headline, Otter, don't send migrant kids to Idaho. Well, first of all, the terminology migrant is not correct whatsoever. And they really criticized our Governor Butch Otter for sending a letter back to the Obama administration and saying, no, don't send them here to Idaho. But yet at the same time, Rita, there are many other governors that are doing the same thing, including Indiana Governor Mike Pence. What are your thoughts about this criticizing by our local newspaper of our governor trying to protect you, our children, our school systems, etc.?
Well, I think it's a bad deal that they've taken one perspective and looked at it and said, oh, this is only a election year tactic, and he's just trying to be out there, and it's all political. Well, it may be political, but nevertheless, we don't need to have all those kids here. The big problem is we don't have any say in it. The federal government is going to do what they want to do, and they're going to send them where they want to send them, and it doesn't matter. And all of these other governors, Mary Fallon had the same thing happen. They brought all those kids into one of their Air Force bases and have them all in the, some kind of a refugee camp, you might say, there, and they wouldn't even let her in to see. They wouldn't let her have any information about it or anything. That's just one state. Same thing happened, like you said, with Governor Pence in Indiana. But it's in numbers of different states where they're just bringing those kids in and leaving them. I don't know how they're choosing where they're going to put them. I heard at one time that there were 1,200 cities across this nation that had accepted HUD money to build, housing and urban development, low-cost housing and stuff. And those cities who accepted that had some fine print that said that they would accept refugees if they needed to in order to accept that money. And so basically what they were doing is accepting the money on the premise that, if there were refugees that came available, they'd probably have to house some of them in this housing that they were building. And so I think it's the same kind of a deal. The government says, oh, here, we've got this money out here for you in grants and stuff, and you can have it, and just sign right here on the dotted line, and then they're married up with the federal government in numbers of different ways. That was exactly the way we got Common Core. I don't know that Governor Otter necessarily was in favor of Common Core, but I do know that those educators that went with him and decided on signing up for it were all ecstatic about getting rid of No Child Left Behind and pulling in that money that they hung out there for him and said, hey, we'll help you with this. And Governor Otter needed to have some money to go into the pension systems and stuff like that of education. And so it's like, well, you know what? We had really low tax things these last several years, and we're really struggling. We'll take that money and get rid of No Child Left Behind. And, well, this is cool. And now we found out that Common Core is toxic, and it's not to the best of anybody's interest, and especially the kids or the teachers. And now we're going to have to fight to get rid of it. But that's what the federal government does. They hang money out there, and you're supposed to grab it and say, oh, yay, and all they do is have a bunch of strings attached to it, and pretty soon you're starting to sink.
Well, now, let me back up a little bit into what I said the first hour, and I want you to respond to this. We are supposedly a nation of laws, and we are a nation that has the strongest, best constitution ever written for any country. Why then is this administration, Obama's administration, being able to break the law and nobody's holding them accountable? In other words, by transporting these illegal alien children, let's call them what they are, around the United States, they are aiding and abetting breaking the law by transporting illegals all over the United States, using taxpayer money for the breaking of this law, and then they're saying that they have the right to do this, and also saying, because they won't let us know where the children are or who they are, that the children have privacy rights. Rita, these are illegal aliens. They do not have the rights afforded American citizens.
Well, and if it was just small children that we were dealing with, it would be a whole different story in itself. But all of these people who have come across the border and who they're asking for places for them to go, and they're shipping them. They are not little small children. A lot of them are older children. A lot of them are kids that are involved in gangs, and a lot of them are people who were involved with the cartels. And many of them are parents of the small children that we see, and we're going to transport them and take care of them and pay somebody to give them room and board until they can get them placed and everything else, and it's all coming out of our pockets. Now, the reason why they can do this is because the last 40 years, we have not been teaching about the Constitution in the schools. People don't know about the Constitution. They don't know what the rights are. They don't know where to draw the line. They don't know what the government can't do, which is really what the Constitution is all about. It's not about what you and I have the right to do. It's what the government can't do to us. And because we don't know it and we don't stand up and shout, you can't do this, you can't do this, and because our representatives won't shout, they're just rolling right over top of us. It's because we just will not put up a big fight about it, and they just figure, oh, well, everybody's asleep. It doesn't matter. We'll do what we want to do.
Did you happen to see the news clip that happened yesterday with Obama in front of another throng of Democratic supporters when he made light, made jest, made mock of anybody and everybody that's against him or questioning his executive orders with his power of his pen and his phone? This man with that big toothy grin basically is saying, I'm going to break the law. I'm going to do it my way, and if you don't like it, sue me. What an attitude for a leader of the best country in the world.
Well, it is very unpresidential, that is for certain. The big problem with that is that he is raising money off of it because he's got his base looking and saying, oh, they're treating the president bad. They're going to sue him. They're going to file a lawsuit against him. And I mean, there's even talk of impeachment and everything else. And so they've got tons of people saying, oh, we've got to come and stand up for the president, so we better raise all this money for him. And basically what he's trying to do is get people who are his base, who normally wouldn't go and vote in this election because it's an off year, and they're afraid, they know that they're in jeopardy of losing the Senate because the Republicans will gain some seats. And it's like, well, we've got to get all of our base out there. We've got to get lots of money so that these people can do their political due justice and pull in their money. And we can re-elect the senators and not lose the House. And that's what it's all about. And it is so disgusting to see him out there acting like just a campaigner, because he's not doing anything else. He's not, watching over what's going on. He's not administering over his foreign policy that needs to be looked at. They're just not paying attention to anything. The world is on fire, and he should be sitting at his desk with lots of people saying, this is what we can do, this is what we need to do, let's watch this, let's watch that, and let's make a statement about this and a statement about that. Instead, they just trash the Israelis for, shooting back at the Palestinians, and the Israelis are the bad people, and the rest of the world's on fire. I mean, there's tons of stuff going on with Putin and stuff in South Africa and all over the place, and they're not paying attention to any of it.
Let me ask you this. The condemnation of the president has now grown to be just more than partisan. It's both sides of the aisle right now that are condemning him for his actions and his executive orders and basically being power hungry to do everything on his own. And this story especially comes to light over the release of Bo Bergdahl for the exchange of 5 terrorists that Congress was never consulted about. And I'd like your response to that, because, there are a lot of people that are saying, why? Why were we not informed? Why did the government negotiate with terrorists, and especially Obama, and that is something that never should have been done? Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, once again, he just decided he was going to do what he wanted to do and didn't let anybody know, and he just did it because he has the power. He thinks he has the power, but what he was doing was not legal because they had to give notice to the Congress that that's what he was doing, and this was the deal that he was going to make. The part that's really sad about it is he let loose some terrorists that could be and potentially will be a big problem for us, as is the guy who is running ISIS when President Obama let him loose in 2009. Oh, he's been in prison for long enough. He isn't going to cause any problems. Nope, he's just scampered right back to the Middle East and started, getting his people to fall in behind him. And now look what they've done. They've overthrown Iraq pretty much, and they're getting rid of all the Christians. People who have been Christians in Iraq and in some of those areas have been Christians for 2,000 years, and now all of a sudden they've had to leave just to save their lives. And it's all because that one terrorist got out and started ginning up his base and getting them all together, and they started marching. And then when Iraq asked for some help in getting them before they came into some of those cities, and we said nope, we're not going to do it because they wanted us to go in and bomb the crap out of them, even if it was with drones. We wouldn't do it, and now look what they've done. They've overthrown several cities, and I read last night where it looks like that they'll be into Baghdad pretty fully, and by the end of the week, we may have news that they've overthrown Baghdad even.
Absolutely. Rita, I've got to do a weather forecast, and I'll be right back with much more, so stay tuned. Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls, with our buddy Reese Wedmeyer, the manager. They are the great indoors for everything you want to do outdoors. Absolutely. Friendly experts, quality gear, down-home attitude for all your hunting, fishing, archery, camping, boating, ATV needs, knives, you name it, it's all there with the experts that really can help you. At Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. And right now, here is Michael Rogers' weather. Here,
Michael Rogers is in the ranch. Isolated thunderstorms for today. Slight chance of that happening for today. You do have a lot of moisture in the area. 89 for the high. It's going to start to get hot. And you're going to continue to see these isolated thunderstorm forecasts all the way through Monday morning. So you'll start off with a nice day, and you'll see that little cloud, and it'll get bigger, and wherever it wants to dump, it's going to dump. That's what your weather pattern is going to be all the way through the weekend. So other than that, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls, bringing you the weather for this half hour. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Jed. Something I forgot to bring up this morning about that $7,000 these people are getting per month for the children.
Yes.
My big problem with that is that they have too many families in this country that speak the language of these children that are coming in. Now, these children are going to probably have the right to go live in these families. Now, these families may end up taking that $7,000 and send it back to their countries in South America. That's one big issue that it really needs to be covered.
I agree with you, and I'll have Rita expand a little bit more on that with us this morning. Rita, this offering, actually about $7,400 a month for families, American families, to take in these so-called children that are homeless, and they fled South America to get away from the crime, which I'm not buying this story. Taxpayer money, tax-free. This is ridiculous, and it's not certainly helping you raise your children or mine.
Well, that's right, and he brings up an excellent point. That was my point exactly when my husband and I were talking about this very morning, is that numbers of those kids will be going to people who are here already illegally. Mm-hmm. They have a roof over their head, and they can take in several. And then where's that money going to go? That money will probably end up being a boon to Mexico or Central or South America, wherever they send it back to, because they send the good part of their money back. the big problem is, and I hope this will be the case. Maybe I shouldn't. That's kind of not very nice, I suppose. I heard them say that this money will be available to them, and there will be. They'll ask them to take them in, and then what they'll do is get them set up, and they'll reimburse them, and then, oh, by the way, they'll get this other money. And I'm thinking, where are they going to get the money? Are they going to actually do it, or are they just doing this, okay, we'll promise you, and then they don't follow through because it's all tied up in court, because they don't have any money set aside to do this. And it comes back to this deal where, Boehner is trying to propose an immigration package to set on the House floor today, and his proposal is $659 million instead of $3.7 billion. And Senator Ted Cruz and several other representatives all met last night to have a meeting to see if they couldn't stop that, because the big thing is that Congress shouldn't pass any bill and that doesn't fully repeal Obama's Deferred Action for the Child Arrivals Program, which allows illegal immigrants brought to the U.S. as children to receive work permits. And so I can see that if they're going to go on vacation for in another week or two or whenever they go, and they're going to be gone for a while, there's a lot of this stuff that isn't even decided. And so will they be promising something that they're not going to be able to live up to? And where did they get the money to do this? The funding isn't there.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, explain something to me. I'm just an old cowboy, but I thought a smidgen was just nothing more than just a little mess, bigger than a tad and smaller than a skosh. But a smidgen, why, there's not a smidgen of corruption with the IRS. Gee, Rita, I think they found a little bit more than a smidgen, did they not?
I think it's obvious you haven't read Obama's dictionary lately, have you? No, that IRS thing is totally out of control, and it just proves that those people were out to get somebody. And I thought it was quite interesting that they made comments in their emails that those talk radio people, they're just real, I can't even remember the exact words that they called them, but in other words, what they were saying in their language, using other words, is that talk radio people are a threat to those of us who were in power. Mm-hmm. And guess why they're in threat to those who were in power? Is because the average Joes like me and you and all of the listeners that listen to talk radio of any kind, there's not a lot of liberal talk radio out there, but those of us that listen, we start understanding what's going on, what our government's doing, what's happening, how there's waste and corruption and everything, whereas before they could just pull the wool right over our eyes and we didn't even know. And so now, because we're actually learning about all of this stuff, we've become a threat to them, and they're trying in their own ways to see if they can't quell that surge of people actually learning and saying, no, you're not going to do this anymore.
Her language, Lois Lerner's language, against and very biased against conservatives and Republicans and people like myself in the industry that I'm in, it absolutely shows beyond a shadow of a doubt that the hatred and the animosity and, quite frankly, the being concentrated against us and trying to use us as targets, I don't know how in the world this administration is going to survive this particular scandal. I looked at Benghazi, I looked at the NSA, I looked at all the other scandals. This is the one, my dear, that I think is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Actually, I hope you're right, and I'm hoping that same thing. The thing of it is that I think they figured that they could just kind of do this under the radar, and nobody would pay attention. And I don't know why they didn't come up with the idea of, well, what if they start comparing their notes? You know how social media is now. It's kind of like, are you in the dark ages, or do you think you're the only people that have social media? Because stuff like that spreads like crazy, and it wouldn't take much. They could see that these Tea Party people were meeting and talking back and forth and clamoring together to get their message out, that they wouldn't start putting two and two together and find out that dozens and dozens and dozens of Tea Party people had been attacked and more or less, put on hold. We're not going to do this and we're not going to do that, and it's all in the, in the way of trying to make sure that Obama gets reelected. Certainly they had to have been somewhat smart, thinking, well, they're going to start putting two and two together. We ought to maybe do something a little less conspicuous. I don't know.
Well, Rita, this whole administration and the snickering and the big toothy grins and the, oh, come on, they're coming after me. I'm going to take it upon myself and I'm going to help the people. That's what he said in the speech yesterday, and that really offends me. The president does not have the constitutional powers to do anything but enforce the laws passed by Congress. And this man is a one-man band. He wants to take over everything. We've got to be extremely wary of Obama in the next 2 years. I've only got a minute left, so take it from there.
Well, we do, and unless people just start standing up and contacting their representatives and making a big stink about it, and dozens and dozens and dozens of states and all of the people in the states have got to start doing this, or we're going to end up having a dictatorship that we're sitting back and saying, well, how did that happen? But if you don't get engaged and don't start learning what's going on, they'll make slaves out of us.
All right, real quick, Tea Party, what's going on with that?
Actually, we're just in the mode of trying to get people informed. We're not going to have a meeting because our meeting falls during the Cassia County Fair Week, and so our next meeting will be in September, and we're right now just trying to fight Common Core and get people informed as the Agenda 21 stuff, and just get people so that they know what's going on and can start, singing a tune that's different than the one they've been singing, which is, you're not going to do this to us anymore.
All right. Rita Ramsey, really good conversation this morning. Thank you so much for being on the program. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Bye.
You bet. God bless. Thank you much. I love having her on the show. Hey, listen, right about this time of the morning, honestly, I get up at about 3:45 in the morning, and I have a little flimsy bowl of cornflakes. Well, right now, this time of the day, I'm hungry and starving to death. And I know some great places to go, like Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley, with that southern baked burrito, either soft shell or grilled shell, either chicken or steak. Wow! Is that ever good? Or the Tamalito burrito, or the taco salad burritos, or anything else on the menu at Taco Bandito. Absolutely fantabulous at 2301 Overland in Burley. Stop in and see them today. How about Burgers Etc.? Oh my, 2 locations, 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 North Overland in Burley. 2 locations of Burgers Etc. And with summer here, they're celebrating 16-ounce root beer floats after 3 p.m., only 99 cents. 99 cents? Give me 10 of them. Oh my goodness, that sounds good. And all the cheeseburgers and everything. And then every Sunday, shrimp dinner special at the Burley location. Oh my goodness, you're going to love Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. Let's move on over to Steve-O's. Oh boy, they got a new entryway to the patio. The patio's open. Come on in, soak up the sunshine, either at noon or after work to relax, and a great menu. Holy smokes, I love the pork chops with salad and choice of potatoes. You're going to love the people, and the menu, like I said, is absolutely fantastic. Stop in and enjoy food the way you like it. Delicious at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. You know what? You got to get into Duck Uglies. Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. Oh my, they've got a ribeye steak that will just knock your Tony Llamas off. A New York steak and all the shrimp and the salmon and all kinds of great sandwiches. Duck Uglies is kid and family friendly in a non-smoking environment. You are gonna like it, let me tell you. Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. You stop in today. And last but not least, in our continuing trek around the area for the best places to eat, the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Oh, try the famous Farmer Brown burgers. My grandsons love those. And also the ranch burgers and the 3-piece fish and chips with small fry, only $7.25. They can make any kind, any flavor of milkshake you so desire. You're going to love it. Voted the best place to have a hamburger. You better believe it. The AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. You stop in and see them today. And those are just a few great places to stop in when you're hungry and starving to death. Man, am I ever. I don't even have to ask, but Gina over at the station, she's always hungry. Are you having, this is terrible for me to say and criticize, but are you having trouble with the buttons this morning?
I am. I'm having an awful time with the buttons. I don't know what my deal is. I
have always thought that you are the rocket scientist of K-Bar. Nothing gets by you. You could land a lunar landing on the moon, and all of a sudden I'm listening to things in my headsets that I ain't never heard before.
And I'm like, maybe I should just pack it in and go home today.
Well, I've had that feeling. Anyhow, I'll see you back at 6. Have a good day.
Got it.
Good morning. Welcome back. Hour number 3, Zeb at the Ranch. Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, and I'm going to talk to one of them in just a minute. First of all, Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, and our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland in Burley. And here is... Who are you this morning?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Who am I talking to this morning, Jeff?
This is Jason.
Oh, well, that was my next choice. Naturally, it's Jason. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good, Deb. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Listen, what's going on at the number 1 by Reader's Choice furniture store in the Magic Valley? I tell you what, you ought to be pretty proud about that.
Well, we appreciate all those who voted for us, and, we try and take care of our customers for a reason, so... We appreciate that. But, Zeb, here we got some really good specials going on. We've got a one-time buy that we got on some power recliners. These normally are $700, $800, $900 recliners with the power mechanism. We've got a number of them in stock, multiple colors, at just $399. Some really good choices. So if you're needing those, a new addition to your living room, these are awesome. People absolutely love them. If you ever fall asleep in your recliner, these are great. You can set them to whichever position you want, unlimited positions. They're not going to move on you, wake you up while you're asleep. The other thing, if you have problems closing the footrest, this takes all the strain out of that. Really nice features. Come in. We've got them in fabrics and the bonded leathers. A lot of good choices to choose from there.
Let me ask you, do they come with a catapult so that they kind of throw you out of there to get back to work?
Launch you right out into your desk? No, unfortunately not. They try and keep you in them as long as they can. So they're just comfortable and real easy.
All right. Well, now, also, I'll bet you it goes without saying that you have rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls of carpet. I'll bet you want to talk about that this morning, too.
We sure do. We've got a flooring specials going on. We've got textured carpets at $12.95 a yard. We've got some friezes at $7.85 a square yard. Some of these are virtually stain-proof. A lot of good features to go over. We've got the nylons, the soft nylons. If you're looking for those extremely durable carpets, to the real soft, the Smart Strand silk, a lot of good things here. We've got them all on roll special, so they're here in the store. The way we buy them, they're anywhere from $8 to $12 a yard less than normal, just because of the way we buy them and stock them here on the floor. And, of course, they're ready to go. We can get these in a matter of days for you. So, they're real accessible.
All right. And also, I'll tell you, you folks have the Flex Steel furniture. What have you got to tell us about that?
We have got the Flex Steel. They have a unique spring system underneath, something that just surpasses everything else in durability and comfort. Their fabrics are outstanding. The frames are just unmatched. But you've got to come see these. It's a wash spring steel, incredible memory. You can run over this unit with a semi, and it just pops right back to normal. It won't even budge it. And so with all that use in your sofas, in your recliners, love seats, they're putting all this durability into the unit, but yet extremely comfortable. So if you're looking for that Flex Steel name, the brand, the quality that comes along with that, we've got multiple frames here on the floor, plus a lot of different custom fabrics we can put on them. And there's unlimited things we can do with this. So,
hey, by the way, you just said that you can run over the Flex Steel furniture with a semi. Hopefully you're saying preferably without anybody sitting in it, right?
Yeah, it's that unit they put under the cushion cores. And it's, that watch steel spring is, it's amazing, the durability and strength, and yet the comfort that comes along with this unit is just unmatched.
Well, they can find out all about this at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More, and all they have to do is walk in the door and just yell out, "Jason, come help me," and you'll be there, right?
Absolutely.
And tell everybody the store hours and the location again, would you, Jason?
We're here at 459 Overland Avenue here in Burley. We're open 9 to 6 weekdays and 10 to 5 on Saturday.
All right. God's blessings to you and everybody over at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More. Thank you for coming on the program this morning.
Thanks, Eb.
God bless. Have a good day. Really, really nice people at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Good old Jason right there. Hey, by the way, don't forget the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. What is the special for today? Oh, ho, ho, ho. Listen to this. Pulled pork burritos with Santa Fe rice and soup or salad for just $9.95. I got to say that again. Pulled pork burritos with Santa Fe rice and soup or salad, $9.95 at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. You get in there today for burritos, pulled pork burritos. Okay. It's going to be good. Always is. Love the environment. Love the people over there. Really, really delicious. Oh, and by the way, before we get started on our school days in Cassia County, I've got this to get on the air real quick. Pardon me. Sugar beet growers, don't forget, introducing Preaxor from BASF, the newest form of chemistry for sugar beets to fight disease and potentially increase yield and sugar content for your sugar beets. Preaxor contains headline and a new compound, xemium, that provides excellent control of powdery mildew. As I said, with the application of BASF's Preaxor, 45 to 60 days prior to harvest, you have the potential of higher yields and more sugar content in your sugar beets. Well, contact your local ag chemical supplier today. For more information on Preaxor, you can also call BASF's Ron Ellis, good buddy, 431-6776, or Tim Perry at 844-0682. Remember, BASF's Preaxor for your better sugar beets. You know what? It is time right now for school days in Cassia County, and we are really, really blessed to have some really fine people coming on the program every week, and it's sponsored by A Child's World at 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley. School's right around the corner, and they've got all the backpacks for $10, and the school clothes are arriving right now, and if you got a road trip coming up before the end of summer with the kids and everything, they got all kinds of great activity games, everything for you at, of course, A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. Also, we want to say thank you to the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Drive in Burley. Over 120 outpatient surgeries are performed this month alone at Ambulatory Surgery Center in Burley, and saving patients hundreds and hundreds of dollars while receiving outstanding personal care. All you have to do is call for more information at 677-8888. 677-8888. And please check on the Ambulatory Surgery Center to serve you on Highland Drive in Burley. Right now, let's go to the phone lines, and one of my very favorite people is on the air with us this morning, and that's Debbie Critchfield. Good morning, Debbie. How are you?
I am well. How's the summer treating you?
Oh, you know, I'm just old, fat, and sunburned. That's all that matters.
Sounds pretty good.
How is everything now? Tell us about your new position while I got you on the air live and direct.
I wish that I probably should know more, but a couple weeks into it, my head is spinning, and I've been oriented a little bit. I know that there's much more to come, and I will be involved in meetings every other month around the state with the other 7 state board members, and I'm sure there's a lot of phone and email work in between, but I'm excited.
Well, now, basically, your position is what? Give us that information again.
The State Board of Education for Idaho is the policy-making board for all education, kindergarten through 20, I guess, if you want to, count up your years to college.
Okay.
And so they set the policies, procedures, rules, practices, requirements, all of those things for all of public education, including the university level around the state.
Well, it sounds to me like they have picked an excellent person for the duty, and we say congratulations and kudos to you and best of luck.
I appreciate that.
Now, I'm thinking back into my elementary school days, which we still circled the wagons at night and sat by the fire, and thinking back into high school and everything, and I go home, and I'm going to be very blunt and honest. I hated mathematics. I hated algebra. I hated geometry. And I would invariably go down the stairs from my bedroom upstairs and say to my mother, how do I do this? And then she would invariably say to me at least 72 times a night or day, say, go talk to your father, and then he would pass the buck also. Kids need help at home with their homework, and the parents don't know the math. What do we do now?
We have got the solution for that, and I think the scenario that you just described plays out in every home, every night during the school year in some form or another. And this last year, there was a lot of talk about new math, and I use that in quotation marks. CAJA schools, with the change of standards, are not necessarily teaching new math. The new part of it would be how teachers are instructing in their classrooms, and that can be it can be challenging, and it can be a little frustrating for parents when their students are bringing math work home and they're not sure how to proceed, or maybe their own foundation isn't something that they feel that they've got the capabilities or confidence to help with their children. And so last year, the legislature, through funding of the legislature to the universities around the state, they set up 4 regional mathematics centers. And their prime purpose is to send out basically the top of the top teachers into the classrooms to help kindergarten through 12th grade public school teachers improve their own teaching instruction, so that as students are developing how to understand the whys of math, so are the teachers. And so this leads us into something exciting that is going to be happening here in CAJA in September. I have contacted our regional center, is located through ISU, and I've been working with the folks there to plan a parent night where the parents can come and see exactly what our teachers are learning, how they are being trained to present the material, how they're being coached so that they can, go in and help their students. And I'm hoping that our parents will turn out for an hour and they will be able to see this for themselves, that they can get a little coaching themselves on how to help their students at home.
Now, when they attend this, this sounds really great, but when they attend this meeting, that's not going to be the catch-all, the panacea to solve the problem. I mean, there's going to be, are there going to be follow-up meetings as to maybe the parents learning more about the math itself?
I would hope so. I think, for me, the main goal this first go-around would be to expose the parents a little bit more to how our teachers are being instructed in their teaching strategies. Again, I heard this a lot as I went through the community and went to different schools. Parents would say, "Well, how are the teachers teaching math these days? What are the strategies that they're using? They seem so different than how I was taught." And it is true. It is different. There's more of a concentration and a focus on the whys of math rather than just, 2 + 2 is 4, because that's what we said. And so they're trying to incorporate more life experience into math. One of the things that I have learned is that math is everywhere. And I hate to say this out loud, but I'm like you, math was not my favorite subject. However, as we get into the classrooms and see that teachers are showing students how every day they're actually using math, they just may not realize it. And so this first opportunity, as we bring in these top-notch math coaches, will be to open this dialogue up with parents to say, this is what we're showing teachers. This is why we think it's effective. This is why we think going this direction with math instruction is improving student achievement.
Let me ask you a question here, and I'm not picking at this subject, and I'm not picking at the asking of why. But sometimes, don't we try to put too many toys in the bathtub, and pretty soon the bathtub water runs over? In other words, don't we make it to where we're asking too many questions instead of just coming up with a basic answer?
Well, I guess I would say, I don't know. And let me clarify the why part of it a little bit better to you. Teachers are finding that students will say, I'm not good at math. Well, how do you know that you're not good at math? Well, because maybe they don't sit down at their, with their pencil and paper, and they can't whip out an answer to an equation. And so as teachers are opening up this discussion and letting the students ask more questions about, well, why do we do this? Or how, it kind of goes along the lines of, well, when am I ever going to use this?
Yeah.
They're trying to show the practical application of how math is everywhere. Let me give you an example. So a teacher in a classroom, in an elementary classroom, used this example to explain the concept of measuring distance. So she gave a very brief lesson about a group of POWs in World War II who were planning their escape by gauging shadows on a distant flagpole in an outside courtyard. And they needed to know how far to dig, and, their hope of escaping partly depended on how they could mathematically solve that problem. And so putting some of these math concepts into real-life situations, they're seeing light bulbs go on with kids like, oh, I get that. I understand. Okay, those are things that I do, or that's something that my dad does when we're trying to figure out distance. So that's an example of the why.
How did they do it on a cloudy day?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. But
that stalled it for that day, maybe.
No, this is really something, though, because I see the innovative ideas and I see the change in philosophy. Mr. Lansing's philosophy in my algebra class was, you're too doggone dumb to get it. Why don't you transfer out of the class? And that's not the attitude, because sometimes it's the teacher's fault for not being able to teach.
Well, and not opening up the door for a kid to say, well, if I come at it from the right and you come at it from the left, if we come up with the same answer, does it really matter how we get there?
There you go.
And I don't think that it does. And I like the fact that this is allowing teachers the ability to get into their classrooms, work, build these skills with their individual students, and have them maybe realize that on the surface, maybe a student says, well, I'm not really good at math. Well, you are, because look what you can construct and build, and, engineering and science, all of those things in some form or another. We're using math all the time.
Yes.
And so as we bring in these math coaches, and they were very gracious, we're going to have one night in Burley, we're going to have an evening in Raft River, and an evening in Oakley. And so we're hoping that folks can catch something somewhere in September, and bring parents in to let them see and kind of answer some of these questions maybe that they're having at home, like, well, I don't understand why your teacher said this, or I don't understand why this is happening. We're gonna try to open that up.
Debbie, you're doing a great job. I have learned so much about education that I just kind of took for granted since we started doing this program. And I commend you and everybody connected to Cassia County Education and all the different schools. Thank you for being on the program, and kudos for what you do.
Thank you. Appreciate being able to explain it, and, we're all in this together.
All right. Debbie Critchfield, and we're on Cassia County School Days, brought to you by some wonderful folks, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Drive in Burley. Thank you very much. Holy cow, we got to go to the phone lines, and I think we've got old Eli. Eli's coming from our friends at Berry Equipment. Good morning, Eli. How are you?
Good, Zeb. How are you?
Well, if I was any better, you'd be talking to the wrong fat man, I'll tell you. I guarantee you've got good things going on at Berry Equipment and Rental. You've got everything. You've got a shop. You've got full-time certified mechanics. You've got all the construction equipment, all the Bobcat equipment, all the Doosan loaders. Holy smokes, tell us more.
Well, things are going well. We did just hire a new tech over there in the Burley area, so things are rocking and rolling right now here.
Now, when you say they're rocking and rolling, I mean, you got all this equipment and all the different needs that are going to be filled, whether it's a dairy or whether it's a construction site. How do you keep up on everything?
A lot of notepads.
Okay.
It's a challenge, but we make do.
All right, now
so that helps.
Tell us a little bit about the Bobcat line. I noticed that you've got all the Bobcats that can get in all the nook and crannies and take care of everybody's needs, and you've got them all available at 3 locations, Twin Falls, Jerome, and Burley. Is that right?
That's correct, and Bobcat's #1 in the world in compact equipment, and they offer the biggest line of skid steers as far as models and track machines. So we can pretty much get anything done for anybody. It just depends on what they're needing. We've got more options than anybody, better financing, good pricing. And then you get a deal with us, so you get the best service in town.
Absolutely. Now, walk us through just a real simple rental. What about a guy like me that needs to come down and rent a Bobcat to load out, maybe clean out his stalls? I mean, is it a hard process, or is it fairly easy?
Well, it's real simple. All we need is a driver's license and a little bit of green up front, and everything's good to go from there. If we have a reservation, we'll have you loaded up before you even get there, so the process in the store is simple and easy.
And you've got great financing programs, too, for those that want to purchase for their farming and their business operations, right?
We do. We have up to 0% for 60 months for a traditional financing, and then we also have some great lease options for the higher hour users, the dairy options. Good financing, either way. So
and
if anybody's curious on it, just get a hold of us and we can go through the options with you.
All right. And then also for construction equipment, you've got all the man lifts, the skid steers, everything. So regardless of the business, you've got the equipment for the people, don't you?
Absolutely. And we've got a lot of stuff, and it's hard to go through it all, and just want to emphasize that it's all listed at berryrental.com.
Okay.
So if you're curious if we got something and don't have time to make a phone call, jump online and see what we've got. All their pricing and everything's on there.
All right. Now, if they need to stop in and see somebody, and of course we're over in Jerome on South Lincoln, who do they ask for over in Jerome?
Jerome, we've got Rod, Chris, and Roy. They're all up to speed and in good shape. Those guys are kind of one-man rental teams. They just go and go and go.
All right, and in Twin Falls?
Early, we've got Rosie and Nick up front.
Okay.
They'll be able to help you with anything, and then we've got a couple guys in the back. And in the big store in Twin Falls, Jim Cleveland is the man.
Okay. And, of course, don't shortchange yourself. You can answer any and all questions yourself, can't you, Eli?
Well, that's true, but usually I'm chained to a desk somewhere.
Okay. Well, I hope they find the key, because you're very important to this operation, Berry Equipment and Rental, and we very much appreciated the fact that you've been on this program for a long time. 3 locations, Jerome, Twin Falls, and a new location right there in Burley on Highway 30. Hey, listen, Eli, take care of yourself. And how are the Green Bay Packers going to be this year? Are they going to go to the Super Bowl or not?
Oh, I think so. I think we're going to make a run.
All right. Well, you're on, buddy. You're on. I hope you're right.
Okay.
God bless you, and thanks.
We'll get together someday and talk about it and maybe make a bet.
It will be all acceptable to that. Thank you very much. And thank you to Berry Equipment and Rental. Thanks, Eli. We'll call you again in the near future. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, Zeb. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Really good folks, and they've got all your equipment, whether you're purchasing or leasing, Berry Equipment and Rental. Really, really good folks. All right, let's take a little break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Don't go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb back.
Oh, thank you very much, and welcome back into our last little bit here of Zeb at the Ranch for this week. And then we're going to take off and head for Denny's Restaurant and, of course, our lunch bunch coming up at about 11:30. I want to remind you about the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo, August 11th through the 16th. Oh, my. And don't forget Chris Cagle in concert on Tuesday, August 12th, right there at the rodeo grounds. Concert starts at 8 p.m. This guy is good. Lots of great country music. Chris Cagle in concert at the Cassia County Fair. And then don't forget all the exhibits, all the food booths, all the horse races, and the entertainment and the PRCA rodeo. Holy cow, it's going to be bigger and better than ever. Your Cassia County Fair and Rodeo, August 11th through the 16th at the Cassia County Fairgrounds. Don't you miss it. Gina, you like to have a good meal, don't you? You like to sit down and enjoy. Whatever it is, you're not going to worry about the calories, are you?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not a calorie watcher. No.
Did you read in the USA Today the other day, as a matter of fact, that they have a list of what they call the extreme meals? They do a study every year, and they go through a list of the various restaurants and fast food places that now are considered to be serving extreme meals that they think should be turned in for government scrutiny. And, I'm serious. And a monster meal at like the Red Robin franchise, the burger franchise. Here is the monster meal. They call it a monster double burger served with bottomless fries and a monster milkshake. It has over 3,540 calories, and this group is claiming it to be the single most unhealthy meal anywhere on the planet, and they are suggesting that help is on the way through the federal government, preparing to require calorie counts on all chains of restaurant menus nationwide, and they are going to make a suggestion that when you order a burger, you order also the burger to come with steamed broccoli instead of fries.
No, thank you. And you know what? Honestly, I am fit enough that I could eat a 3,500 calorie meal and be okay.
You know, here's the whole situation, and I know you're going to agree with this. I'm a big guy, but I eat like a bird. I do not eat very much. But if I want to go out and indulge, and if I want to go and have this monster mega-sized double burger with the bottomless fries and a monster milkshake, Gina, really, what harm is it going to do me if I do it like once a month? I mean, if I want to splurge and go out once a month, that's my own personal responsibility.
It is your own personal responsibility, and it's not the government's decision to decide what we put on our forks.
Well, and they want to come out with all these different deals as to how many calorie burns you would have to get rid of this. And so they're asking different restaurants not only to post the calories, but they're also saying that you would need 12 hours of brisk walking for the monster meal to be burned off, 7 hours of lap swimming to get rid of like an order of French toast, 5 hours of jogging for chicken pasta dishes to be burned off, and 4.5 hours of aerobics to get rid of the cheesecake. You know something? Your daily routine, if you do this once or so just to treat yourself, whose business is it to get the government involved in saying, oh, no, don't have that big burger unless you order steamed broccoli with it?
Okay, I'll just put the steamed broccoli aside, and then the waiter can come and get it later because I'm not going to eat it because I've had that big monster burger. But I enjoyed every bit of it.
Isn't this just the same way we're treating our kids in the school? We're trying to serve them something they're not going to eat, something they're not going to enjoy, steamed broccoli or other choices like this. And you can't really blame the kids in the school system under Mama Obama's lunch program to not want this stuff, and they throw it in the garbage.
Exactly. And, as far as putting calorie counts on menus, a lot of restaurants already do that anyway. Apparently, a lot of these groups don't know that, but they do put calorie content information on the menu, and then they do have a lighter side menu as well, so they're giving a full rounded option. But if, say, for instance, you go out to dinner with Deanne and you want to splurge, go for it, because you don't do it all the time.
That's exactly the whole point. It's personal responsibility, and it's also our right to order what we want in the portions that we want and what type of food we want. And I am so sick and tired of this government meddling. I don't care what restaurant it is. I don't care what I order. I am sick and tired of the government being the one-all catch-all and trying to tell. I'll make a bet with you, and I think I'd be right. I would venture to say that if you drove into a hamburger fast food lane, regardless of the chain, whether it's Wendy's, McDonald's, whatever, and you saw up on the board a lean cheeseburger or a lean burger with nothing on it, coming with a packet of broccoli, I'll bet you that you would sell maybe 1 or 2 a week.
I wouldn't even give it that.
Really?
You might buy, okay, so maybe you would buy the one burger, sans the broccoli, and feed it to your dog that's sitting in the back seat.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't treat a dog that way, though.
But, I know, but you see, I don't even think they would sell 1 a month. But that's just my opinion, and we've got 2 phone calls.
All right, we'll take those real quick, because then I'm going to have to cut out early. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. This is your broccoli headquarters.
Al hung up. Let's go to caller number 2.
Caller number 2, good morning.
Zeb, I like broccoli, but not with a hamburger.
Yeah, but seriously, even if you like broccoli, don't you see what the government is doing? Don't you see what this administration is doing? Don't you see how they're trying to coerce and really turn your mind into thinking that everything is bad, the government knows everything, and they're going to tell you what you can and can't eat? Aren't you upset about that?
Sure am. Well, you know what the real goal here is, don't you?
Well, I think I do, but go ahead and tell me your opinion.
The government wanted to take care of your health care so that in the future they can order you what you're going to eat and what you're not going to eat.
That's right.
Because they're paying for your medical bill.
Yeah, if we go to a single-payer system with the Obamacare and the overreaching effects that's going to have, they can literally tell you 24/7, 365 what you can and can't eat so that everybody falls into the same category. I totally agree with you, sir.
All they have to do is tag you and say, okay, you came to McDonald's. You know, Mr. Zeb Bell, you're kind of on the heavy set side here. You're not allowed to order that under the government regulation, so we can't serve that to you. I'm really sorry. You're going to have to order the broccoli and cheese.
Yeah, and I made the statement on the air not too long ago about going to the grocery store, and people laughed at me and said, oh, this will never happen, to where they literally, through the government controls, will start having checkers at grocery stores looking at what you've put in the basket, and they'll kind of go, sorry, Freddie, you can't have that.
They won't even have to do that. They'll RFID chip you or have it in your wallet. When you go through the check stand, it's going to flag you automatically through the computer system and say, you can't buy that because you're not allowed to buy that under government regulations. And people who say we're crazy don't understand where we're headed with this.
Why do you say what you're saying? I mean, I guess a lot of people wouldn't have the guts to say what you're saying, but it is true, and we see it coming closer and closer every day. How concerned are you that we're just literally steps away from having this happen?
I'm extremely concerned. You can see where they're headed with this. They do this a little bit at a time. They want the Obamacare as it is now to fail so we can go to a single-payer system. Once we go to a single-payer system, because obviously the private sector couldn't handle this.
That's right.
It didn't work out. See, it fell flat on its face.
That's right.
Nobody signed up for Obamacare. We didn't get enough people. So they'll go to a single-payer system. Once they get to that, then they can start saying, well, we've got to start tracking everybody and making sure that they're eating what they should and staying away from what they shouldn't, because after all, we are paying the bill.
Yes, and everybody...
That's where they're headed with it. They want to control every aspect of our lives. And it's just like boiling a frog. You do it a little bit at a time. Just look back at all the laws that we've passed over the past 40 years. I remember in high school, too, how many kids in high school had a rifle in the back of their truck?
That's right.
Sitting up to the windshield.
Yep.
In the back. Without the truck being locked.
I totally agree. Everything you said, I'm having a little trouble hearing you. You're cutting out on me a little bit, but I totally agree with your concept. I agree that that's where we're headed. I agree that it's very, very cynical to look at Obamacare and not see that they want more control on the American people, especially with our diets and our food that we can purchase, etc. Sir, I appreciate your call. I got to wrap it up, but I do thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. They're going to call us crazy, but we're not. This is where it's headed.
I agree with you. Thank you much. I got to do a weather forecast real quick, and the weather's brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Oh, these are good people. Don Scarrow and the rest of the folks, everything they sell is guaranteed, and I'll tell you, they are selling taste one bite at a time. You got to try their marinated tri-tips. Oh, they are delicious. And that's at Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And right now, here is Michael Rogers' weather.
Hey everyone, Michael Rogers is in the anti-isolated thunderstorms for today. Slight chance of that happening for today. You do have a lot of moisture in the area. 89 for the high. It's going to start to get hot. And you're going to continue to see these isolated thunderstorm forecasts all the way through Monday morning. So you'll start off with a nice day, and you'll see that little cloud, and it'll get bigger, and wherever it wants to dump, it's going to dump. That's what your weather pattern is going to be all the way through the weekend. So other than that, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
There you go. Michael Rogers weather right here on Zebeth Ranch, brought to you this hour by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Selling taste one bite at a time. The gentleman that called was spot on, because if we do end up with Obamacare as a single-pay unit, the government will have the dictates and the regulations to basically control everything you put in your mouth, or if you don't qualify the way they want you to qualify, they will have means necessary to force and coerce you to qualify. And that's why I'm very concerned about everything that's going on with Mama Obama and her dietary guidelines, especially with our school kids. And we're going to have a special segment on that next week with a lady from back in New York, so don't miss that. I think she's coming up on Wednesday, I believe. Hey, don't forget, too, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. The best in tires for your cars, pickups, SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers, whatever you need tires for. They have the best in tires. All the selection for your type of driving. And, of course, the best in brake value promise. Professionally trained technicians, over 30 years experience. I mean, they know brakes. They know front end alignments. They know shocks and struts. They have the best in batteries. I'm telling you, the best in service. The best in service to you. Stop in today and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The very, very best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. The best. thank you for an excellent week. Been interesting. We've had a lot of great people on the program as we wrap up the month of July. Holy smokes, next week we'll be talking to you already in August. Summer on the wane. And we've got a lot of things to report on next week, all the different fairs and everything that's going on. And Gina, real quick before I go, I couldn't hear you earlier, but tell us a little bit about this candy business over in Rupert. They delivered 2 great-looking, delicious candied apples. Tell us about that, because I want to say thanks to them.
Well, that is Ross and Dina Newcomb. Of course, Ross does a lot of farming here in the local area. He's one of your avid listeners. His wife makes chocolates throughout the year, especially during Christmas time, and she does these wonderful carameled apples. Obviously, you got one with the chocolate-covered carameled apples. Wonderful. Her name is Dina Newcomb, and actually, she does sell them, but she does it all, I do believe, out of her house, I think.
Well, I have never in my life seen carameled apples so beautifully decorated. I almost hate to bite into it.
Gorgeous. I know, it's like a work of art. You don't want to bite into it, but there's good stuff in there.
And she runs the business right out of their home, right?
I do believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you hear more and find out more, I want to give them kudos because they look fantastic. We got a chocolate one and one that looks like kind of a orange or peach color. Oh, my goodness. Are they decorated deliciously?
You're going to love them. Dina does a wonderful job.
All right. Listen, you do too. And thank you for everything this week. And we'll look forward to being back on the radio again next week on Monday at 8:06. Ride the horse for 3 hours until 11 o'clock. Zebel.com if you want to listen on the internet all over the world. And the reason I'm cutting things off a few minutes early, and I thank Gina for covering, is we got to run the lunch bunch at Denny's restaurant coming up at 11:30. And hopefully you'll make it over there too, Gina. So we'll see you then.
You got it. You have a safe trip.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody. See you next Monday.